Hello friends, welcome back to Netcode-Hub channel. This is .NET 8 Blazor for Beginner series. Now in this video, we are going to talk about state management in Blazor. I am Frederick, as you know, and I'm happy to meet you. In Blazor, component state refers to the data that is maintained by a specific component. You know, the state can change over time, and when the state changes, the component has to be rendered to reflect those changes in the user interface. Understanding component state is very important for building dynamic and interactive web applications. In Blazor application, managing state is a very important aspect, and there are different approaches that we can use to maintain state. There are two states that we can talk about, that is a local state and our global state management. Let's have a look on each. When we talk about the local and global states, what does each mean? In Blazor application, local state, it is whereby the states of an application is being maintained within the same page. So we have one component that we've created. We have some variables which hold values. These variables, the values are the states. We can maintain them within the same page. You can interact with the same value of that variable in different methods. We have a look. We want to talk about global states. What is it? Blazor application often requires global state management for sharing data across multiple components. So you can achieve this by using services or state containers. Using services for state sharing, in Blazor, services are commonly used for state sharing among components. Services act as a singleton by providing a centralized location for managing and sharing state across various components. Anytime that you create a service, we create a state which is global. It looks like this global state is going to sit in the middle, whereby all the other components are going to surround with it. Anytime any component needs data, it gets to the global state and I'll pick the data and I'll utilize it. So in doing that, we can share data across multiple components. Let's first have a look at the practical aspect of the local state. Then we see the global state as well. So, let's launch our Visual Studio and let's see from the Blazor web app. You're going to click on this and I have the name here set already, Blazor Web App State Management. We click on Next and we're going to choose any of the render modes. You can decide to choose any one, but let's maintain the interactive render mode at server. Okay. If you don't know how to use this, or if you don't know what each does, check this video description and also the playlist. I have a video there explaining the render modes in the .NET 8 web app template. Let's click on create to get this project created. So the app is now ready, and now let's go to the home page. Now inside this component folder, we go to the pages, we go to the home component. So inside this home component, we're going to have a local state. Okay, so maybe we can have h1 here and say this is local state management. You can close this h1 peacefully. Okay, so we have our code section down here, and let's declare we have an integer. Let's say this one is any variable at all, so you can just create variable. Then let's come to this, and now with this one you're going to have such as input. Maybe the type could be, should be here, right? So the type, let's make this as number, or let's make this as text. Okay, then this must be string as usual. Alright, so here we have our class, and this is form control. Okay, so now that we have this variable here, we have our h1. What is it? It's complaining. Okay, so h1 open and then close. Okay, so it's gone. All right, so we have this input tag, and we are going to bind this. We've watched a video that is known as the data bindings. So we are going to bind this in here. So at bind value, let's bind to this, so that anytime or whatever thing that we pass into this input text is going to be stored in here. At the end of the day, we want to display, instead of this hello, we want to display, so this is the output. Then let's call this variable. Okay, so now we have this. Anything that we pass on here is going to be displayed here. Maybe we can apply break. Okay, now let's run this application and try to pass in data here, and I'll see this is local state management. Take note. So the app is ready. Now let's pass in something to this test. So we pass in hello. So we have our welcome. So you pass in this, and we have to see this, but we are not. I believe by now you know the reason. So let's add at render mode. Let's make this as interactive so we can communicate with the UI. Interactive server, saying that is what we chose. Now let's re-render this. So now it is ready. Now let's see hello welcome. Now as soon as I type in this, you can see that I have this hello welcome in here. You see? And welcome to Netcode-Hub channel. Yes. Okay, so I have this, and next I have this hello welcome to Netcode-Hub channel, right? Let's go to the counter. Now let's go back to the home page. Now where is it? Cannot be found. Yes, it is off. Cleared. Let's do it again. Maybe let's try once again. Okay, so now let's go back. It is so off. The reason why? Because you're using local state. Now what this does is, anytime that this page is called, example is if I click on this page, passing the data here, and it's being stored up in the variable that created, and if I click on this page gets disposed. Okay, so with this I'm going to talk about page lifecycle. Now this page get disposed. As soon as I click on this and I'll click on this again, this page gets rendered. So anytime I click outside this page, while it has been clicked already, this page get discarded. Okay, and now if I click on it again, it gets re-rendered. So when it is discarding or when it is disposing, we have a variable called variable. We have a variable called message. Let's make this a message. Okay, so I did not confuse you because I don't want to confuse you. Okay, so this message that we have in here, let me just make it clear before. Okay, so this is a variable message that we have. When the page is discarding or disposing, it's going to also clear the content of this variable. So when it's clear the content of this variable, we are making a reference to this variable here. So the content has been cleared. So how come? Will the content be displayed again? No, because it has been cleared from here. That is, we are handling the state inside the same page. The whole page is going to be discarded, so it's going to scrap off everything in that component. When we click on that button again, it gets re-rendered or re-prepared this page and now give it to us. So in the first time, in the next preparation, this variable that we declared is not having any default value, so it's going to be empty. And that's the reason why if I click on this page and I return, I see, or you and I, we see that the content is missing. Click on this counter, go back, the content is missing. That is when using local state. Local state is very important, or it is useful when you want to handle a specific content or value within the same component. You don't want to pass this content or this value here to multiple components. You want to be static or limit to only a specific component. In such case, you can use the local state. But when doing it, get in mind that when the person clicks outside that page and returns to the page again, the variable or the value for this content or this variable is going to be cleared, because the state is not managed outside this component, but it's rather inside. That is the local state. What is the global state? We want to maintain the state of this. The value that we pass in here, we want to maintain it and also use it in another component. With this one that we have created, we cannot use this component in maybe weather component. No, we cannot, because as soon as I type in, even with this weather or even with this counter, as soon as I type in this counter, and let's have a duplicate here, maybe message. As soon as I type in this message, see what we're going to say. We're going to say that this is not found, although we have declared the message here. But if I put it here, you can say it is not found. It doesn't exist because this component is on its own and there's no variable created as message, but we have one at the home. Since this is a local, it cannot be used outside the scope of this component. Then how do you maintain the state? How do you also use the state of this or the value of this outside this component? That is where we need to use the state container or the global state. So how do you do it? First of all, you're going to create a class. So let's create a class here, and with this page, I'm going to create a folder in this. You can create as many as state that you want, okay, in your project, depending on what you want to do. So let's create a folder here, and now with this folder, let's stop this first. We're going to name this as states. So global state. And now with this, we're going to have maybe message state or etc. So any name at all, it must be a class. And now within this class, let's have this class. So this is message state. It's going to only display message. Okay, so in here, you know, when you check this home page, right, we have an input. That is a setter, so we're going to set it, and now we have this here as getter. So set and get. We have to set it so you can also retrieve the content. So in this state, we're also going to have the same. Okay, now let's see. We are having something like, let's have our string property here, and now we say this is message. Okay, so how do we set this message? We can set it in another page and I retrieve it anywhere. Okay, so for now, you can also have maybe an inbuilt method here, a private method or a public method to set this variable. But for now, we want to maintain this. Okay, so now with this message that we have, let's copy this message state. Let's go to solution, go to the program, and now here you're going to create dependency injection. We're going to restart this. So as soon as the page loads, it's aware of this state that we have created. And now it's going to make this available to all the components that you're going to use this state in. So it's very necessary to inject it. So put it here, builder.services dot add. You can add singleton. You can also add scope. The new one is going to work. Okay, so it's going to create an instance here, and I'm broadcast this instance to all over the application so that each application can also have access to this. Now let's paste in message state. So control period, I think the name is right there, and then the reference has been added. And now let's close this. So in this, we've created dependency injection here. And now once you have this, what can we do? We go to the page that you want to make a reference here. Here, we come and inject it. So let's say at, you see, inject, then paste your message state. Let's create an instance here. And now this instance is going to be small m message state. Let's include a reference here, and it is coming from using Blazor Web App State Management.global state folder. Okay, I think I have to do it myself. So using Blazor dot global state. Yeah, so we have this. Now instead of using only message, we're going to say message state dot. There's a component known as message, a property known as message, and now we can make a reference out of it. Now let's save this, and now let's run this and check it out. While this is running, when you go to the home page, you see we are still setting up the message here, so we're not going to get it. All right, if you want to retrieve that, unless instead of this we are going to use this message dot. So let's have this set, this message state. So this means that you also have to inject the same message on top here. So let's copy this, and now in the home page let's inject it. So any page that you want to retrieve the message, just inject it, or you can put this injection inside the import.razor, where we're going to inject it once. You're going to have an instance created once, and I'll use this in the whole application. For now, let's maintain this. So let's also copy the same name and the same namespace, and let's paste it in here. So we are holding, or we are setting it in here. We're also retrieving it here. You can also retrieve it here. And I want to go to the other component as well. We're also retrieving it as well. So there's a setter, there's getter, and now we see in other component too, we are also getting the content in here. That's the global state. Now let's run this and see. So the app is ready, and now let's type in hello welcome. Okay, so we have this. Now we have the set. You can see we have it in here. That's fine. Let's go to the counter, and you can see we still have it here. Hello, welcome to my channel. So we set it in the home page, and we have it. Now let's go back to the home page and see. Is it going to be cleared off? Because as soon as I click on this home page, the page has to re-render again. And now let's see. Oh, so you can see we have it. Hello, welcome to my channel. The reason why? The reason here that we're talking about is when the page is going to discard it, when you check the source code, when this page is going to be discarded, that's the home page in here. This page, it is not cleared, or it is not set up in here. So while this page is going to be discarded, this is found in another class. So it cannot clear the content of this. It cannot, because it is not in between, or it's not within this the scope of this. It is outside. So when this page is getting its data cleared off, this variable here is going to be released, because it is not part of this and cannot clear the content of this. When it is re-rendering, it gets to this content, this state, and I'll check the property here. Does it have the message? Then give it back to me again. So as soon as it's discarding, this message state.message get hanged up and return, hold on the message, the content. When the page is re-rendering, it goes to the same content, and now it gets the message and now deliver it or display it as well. So using global state allows you to display content or use shared data of a state all over the application. So it's like the global state here is going to be in the middle, whereby all the other components are going to surround it. So anyone can use this. If you want to use this state in the same maybe weather forecast too, you can also do same. So that's a way to use the global state and the local state. Now, when is global state useful? It's useful when you want to handle data across the whole application. Let's say you're having a cart that as soon as I click on add to cart, I want this cart to navigate or to be shown in all the pages that I do visit. Maybe the cart is on top of the page, and any page that I want to visit, I want to see the cart in there. In such case, global state management is the best choice for you, not the local one. But in case you want to render this internally within the same component, then you can go in for the local state. So you bear in mind that with the global state, you have to create dependency injection so that this state will be available in all the application. All that you need to do here is to inject it, create an instance, and now start using it. It's very simple. In the subsequent video, we're going to talk about an advanced way of stating this and also handling this as well. Okay, now let's see. Maybe we can add this. Maybe we have at least some few minutes. Let's also add that. You can see that here, the state that we created, we have this. We can also create another public void. So this could be a public void. Then let's say set message. You see, so set message, this is what you're going to do. This set message, we must pass in a parameter. Maybe there's a message. or let's say incoming test. Okay, so incoming test. Then we're going to say that this message is equal to what? This incoming test. Very simple one, you see. So we are setting the message in here, and we can also clear the message in here. Now when you create something like this, any page can set it, any page can also what? Clear it. Now here we're going to say clear message. So clear message. And now with this, we don't want to set anything. What we're going to do here is set this to maybe empty, and that is all. Now once you have this, when you come to the counter here, instead of getting the data in here, this is what we can do. We can just have a button on click here is increment count. So let's actually use the home page. Let's have a button instead of this input. So we have a button, and now with this button you're going to say at on click, then you're going to say that set message. Let's an event here, so we're going to have set message. Let's define this as void set message. Okay, now here we have a message. So this is our string. This our message is equal to, let's say, hello, welcome to my channel. That is a message, right? Now remember that we have a message state. So this message state dot, we have set message. Have you seen this method? It's a method that we created here. It needs an parameter known as incoming test. So set message, then pass in this message. So that is a way to also set it. Now if I click on clear, let's have another button in here, and now let's say clear message. So all that you need to do here is, let me have this clear as well. So clear message, we need to copy the same thing here. So copy this, let's paste this. Okay, so we can remove this since we're going to clear everything. And now here, let me copy this and paste it. Message state dot clear. So this method is returning null. So let's say dot, and it is taking no parameter. So clear message, and it's going to clear this. In case we want to use this method anywhere, all that you need to do here is just copy this method from this angle. We go to the page that you want to use this counter. Then in here, we can just paste this. So we have this. Let's go in there and now add our buttons in there. So this are buttons counter. We can remove this one, and we have our buttons. So set and clear. We have the state injected in here. This can also set it, and this can also clear this. Okay, so maybe in here, when you want to set up maybe this message, you can just create a variable here to set up the message, and now start calling this method. But here, welcome to my channel. From counter, you can also do this, and it's still going to work. So this means when you create this state, when using state management, you can set it and get it all over in any of the pages that you have in your project. Okay, so let's rebuild this and now test this out. The page is ready. Now from the home page, let's see, this is the home page. So set message. If I click on this, you will see hello, welcome to my channel. We have the message being set, right? Now if I click on this clear message, see what happens. Clear, now it is off. Go to the counter and you can see the message is off. Set the message here. Now come to the home and you can see the message is in here. Clear the message in here, go to the counter, and the message is cleared. Set, clear, set, clear, set, go to the home, it is there. Clear from the home, go to the counter, it is off. That is a way to use a global state and making the data or sharing data across all components or within the whole application. That is it. I believe you guys have understood this, isn't it? Yes, I know you have. Alright, so that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions too, put it at the comment section. We're going to talk about next video. We're going to talk about something which is very interesting and you love it. So then, take care and I'll see you again.